Welcome everybody to the B&H virtual event space. We have a big announcement that Sony announced in the last day for all you vloggers, and what we're going to be discussing today is if it's for the other people and not just the vloggers. So we will get into that, but we are talking video, we are talking compact, we are talking the Sony ZV-1. So welcome to everybody out there in Facebook world, live stream, and joining us on Zoom. If you do have any questions, as always, drop them in the Q&A tab here on Zoom or on Facebook. You can leave them in the comments section below. Now, Jason, Vivienne, how's it going? First, welcome to the B&H event space. It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you to our sponsor, Sony, for this, this wonderful event. What's going on, guys? You guys are joining us from the West Coast, so I apologize it's not happy hour there, but I got nothing in my hands here either, so we're on a level playing field.
You know, I got a little bit of raspberry. Is it raspberry? Raspberry.
It's raspberry iced tea, but it's like it's just regular raspberry iced tea.
But it's a little Snapple for me to calm down the nerves for this live stream that we're having with you guys.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we're talking video today, right? So you guys got your hands on the ZV-1, and first impressions, there it is. We got the box up there. So first impression, I mean, my first impression of it was whenever I hear vlogging camera, I'm automatically thinking like something mirrorless or DSLR size. And I saw the camera and I'm like, wait, did somebody send me the wrong image? This is like, it's like tiny. It's like a point and shoot. So what about you guys? What's your first impressions on the camera?
Wow. When we first heard about it, we were like, oh, dang, like this is it. Like this is like the camera of my dreams. And then when we got it in person, it was exactly what I thought it was. It's so small, so it fits in my hand. And I don't know, it's just like the form factor of it is really nice. It's very sleek, very like minimal, especially for like a vlogging camera. And they got the flip screen going on here, so yeah.
So Vivienne loves it. Jason, was it kind of the same thing? Was it more in a matter of like, hey, it's compact, it's small, this isn't...
Yeah, like, when they were first telling it to me, they're like, look, we're finally doing it. We're putting the flip out screen on our compact camera. Because if you guys know Sony's been coming out with some great pocket size point and shoot cameras, the RX100 series in particular, the screen flips up. I particularly love it. I was rocking the RX100 Mark 7 as a mic jack. And for the longest time, well, for better part for like almost a year now, I believe that camera came out, I was using it to vlog. I was just like, you know what? I got my vlogging setup dialed in already. The RX1 Mark 7 with my cage and my mic, this is good to go. And then they're like, no, hold on. Here's a dedicated camera, ditch the cage. Here it is with a flip out screen. What do you think of that? I'm like, oh, of course you guys would do this to me. Release a camera like this right when I perfected my vlogging setup. So I'm stoked. I am really stoked. I think this is going to be a fantastic vlogging camera for 2020. And we'll dive more into it. I don't want to geek out too hard just yet.
Oh, no, come on. Everybody, it's just pretend it's YouTube. You know how it is on YouTube. It's like YouTube, you could literally read the spec sheet and they want more specs.
Yeah.
But it's funny you said the RX100. That's the first thing I thought. I told you when I saw it, I'm like, somebody sent me the wrong picture. I'm like, somebody sent me an RX100. Or I'm like, something's getting screwed up. I'm like, I've been quarantined too long. Somebody help me. That's the first thing I thought. So I don't know if this was it by design. I know the RX100 is such a popular series that it makes sense to take that camera and kind of just engineer it. We see a lot of companies now offering various options in their photo lines for different type of users. So you have, something for more professional, people who are more catered towards the video, people who are just your everyday shooters. And then something like the ZV-1, where if you know how to turn on a camera, this camera's for you. I mean, it's something where you don't have to have, a degree from film school to turn this camera on and get use out of it. So take us through experience-wise. So we'll get into the tech stuff, we'll get into the specs, but first look, I mean, you turn on the camera, take us through it. I mean, what do you remember feeling as you're turning on? Was it like wow, this thing's too easy, or it's so easy that I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing it right?
You got to ask Vivienne, because after the embargo lifted, she literally pried the camera out of my hand. She's like, it's my turn now. It's my turn to play with this camera. You got your video out already, so it's my turn. So Vivienne, why don't you go ahead and kind of talk about your experience with the ZV-1?
Well, like I mentioned that literally when I put it in my hands, the first thought was like, this is a lot lighter. and like smaller than I thought. And I was kept saying the form factor, but form factor is so important for me because it just has like a small little grip here. It was like easy to hold, and it was almost foolproof. Like I just literally have to flip the screen open and it turns on. And the settings are, well, I left them in like auto, but the settings are like pretty much done. And then a lot of like the functions that I needed that I used to have to dig through menu systems for, they're now like on the top of the camera. So I don't really have to think about it too much. And I'm not the most technical person. I definitely, I'm more like aesthetics and like things looking pretty and everything like that.
Let me interrupt really quickly, okay? She's the creative type. She's definitely has the more creative eye. She sees the shot, but she does not necessarily know how to technically execute it. So I come in, I'm like, well, here you go. You set the shutter speed this way. You said, the aperture for this blurry background. And, I kind of help her. I'm more of her like technical support. I'm a technical support for her creativity.
He's like tech support.
So this camera basically just put you out of a job, Jason. She's going to be leaving the team and doing her own thing now. So if it's that,
I want to say puts her out of the job now because she shoots all of my videos. So.
That's true. He doesn't need me now because now he can look at himself and there we go. Before I used to have to stand behind the camera and I have to be like, okay, yeah, you're framed up right. You look good. Like all the settings are right. But now like everything he can just look at it himself. So, I mean.
Well, Vivienne, you talk about needs. That's an important thing, we have people joining us who are going to be professionals, people who are very early on beginners. And then there's people that they haven't even delved into video, but they're like, I would like to know, I'd like to know something, or I want to do video. For someone who is sitting home and they're like, you know what? People like to listen to me talk. I'm fun, or they think this. What are the needs? Somebody wants to get into vlogging. I mean, this camera clearly is cut out for it. If all you have to do is just a Google search and everything is going to come up, this is the vlogger's camera. What are the needs that this camera addresses for vloggers? I mean, you talked about the screen that rotates. Is that something that's one of your top needs, or what other needs are we looking at?
I think that's very important, having that flip out screen just to be able to film, because we talked about this in my video. Everyone, pretty much anyone who's looking to upload, internet videos, they're going to be a one-person team, right? So it's vitally important that the camera is keeping you in focus, and having a great audio quality is also going to be, upping your production. So, when it comes to filmmaking, you're always having like this huge team, someone that's pulling focus for you, keeping the subject in focus. But the thing when it comes to the vlogging world, Sony is very known for their amazing autofocus, right? So prior to 2019, these cameras here have face detect autofocus. So it's doing a great job already keeping the vlogger's face in focus as they're vlogging. However, just last year, I think 2019, Sony announced that they're including video eye autofocus, which, you didn't think they could make it better, but they did. So now we have video eye autofocus on the ZV-1. They're not holding any punches back, and it's locking in on our eyes as, we're talking, as we're vlogging. And the included mic jack is really helpful too. And Vivienne, you want to talk a little bit about the mic jack as well as the hot shoe on top of the camera, just because you have it?
Yeah, so another thing that I think a lot of vloggers and people that make their own videos really need is really good audio. And this time, they did listen and they added this little audio hot shoe on top. There we go. And the great thing is that it comes included with this like little wind muff. So this was an issue that we brought up before, and it has been brought up many times from creators like to the Sony development team, that they needed an option for like better audio, especially for the smaller like point and shoot cameras. So they were like, okay, well, we'll listen to you. And they kind of came up with this new way, and it comes with this little wind muff, and it just kind of like snaps in here right on top. It looks so like cute. A toupee. It is the cutest thing ever. We've seen similar setups before. Like people kind of like MacGyver, like these little fuzzy thingies to put on top. But I think this is like a much better solution now. And that addresses like kind of the main two issues that we had before with kind of finding the perfect vlogging setup. It was the flip out screen and then fixing like the audio issue, because no one really wants to listen to a video where the sound is like really bad, it's loud, and there's a wind and there's like background noise and cars running through it. So that I like that they address those two issues and like kind of fix that up. And the thing is that you mentioned that they're thinking of everybody, like in the sense that like they didn't nerf any of like the features within the cameras, because you mentioned there are people that are starting out and there are like professionals that are going to be looking at this camera. I think a great thing was that they didn't really take away any of the other professional aspects that make their cameras great, like Jason mentioned, IAF, all of those options. Like it's still within the camera, you know, but they did kind of pull out the easier functions that are more like of the forefront for people to start with, and just made that more accessible.
Yeah, so what we're trying to get at here is that Sony streamlined a couple of buttons for, you know, tech savvier folks, the more creative types, I would like to say. One of them is the background defocus, which is the custom button one button on top of the camera. And what it does is that it literally just blurs out the background for you. You know, everyone likes that blurry background look. You know, they like that focus. So one push of button, bam, you're suddenly in this nice little blurry background. It looks very aesthetically pleasing. So that's one button right there that kind of streamlines the process without you having to go into not really necessarily into the menu, but having to figure out, you know, the exposure triangle, you know, setting the aperture, adjusting your shutter speed and ISO. So they make it super easy for that. And when it comes to vlogging and sharing, I think a lot of people, you know, they like to maybe share some products in the screen. You know, sometimes, you know, we talk about how great the autofocus is for Sony, right? And sometimes it's too good. You know, the autofocus just locks onto our eyes and we're trying to show the product, but it's not focusing on the product. They included a button called the product showcase, in which you just, boom, push the button and it cuts out the face and eye autofocus and immediately just focus on whatever is closest to the camera. So, you know, just having these couple of features just makes it easy for everybody. And I also like to add the colors. The colors of the ZV-1 is absolutely amazing. I think they really improved on that part. Very flattering skin tones. And I think something that really blew Vivienne and I away was, you know, we're shooting outside and the colors are nicely saturated. It looks really good. The greens look really good. Our skin tones are looking really good. Can you comment a little bit about that, Vivienne?
Yeah, so I was able to take the camera out a little bit when I was running errands, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like film like whatever's here. And it wasn't like a very great area. Like I was in a greenhouse, like picking up house plants because why not? So I was getting plants and I was like, oh, I'm gonna film around this area and just kind of take a look at the skin tones, see what my skin looks like, especially as I like walk in and out of the sun, you know, within outside and then back into the greenhouse. And then I was also filming some of the flowers and some of the plants. And those are like things I like to film. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna capture it. I'm gonna see how it looks like when I go back. And when I was able to pull up the footage, like it was like pretty much good to go. I didn't have to fiddle with like any of the settings really. And then the footage itself looked really good and it was like colored really nicely. You know, I just feel like the less I have to do to words, it definitely kind of like it helps me to like accelerate like the creative process. Like I don't have to think too hard and like get stumped by something and then not want to put out something at the end. So it was really nice. Like I think like colors look great, lighting was really great. So I was like, oh, okay, like I don't have to really do anything. Like this is good to go, good to share.
It's a camera that gets out of the way. And I think you hit the nail on the head. When you're trying to stay creative, and we creatives are a fickle bunch. All it takes is one little error in something and our mind is gone. And so, you know, like you said, all these little buttons that lead into being able to get back to creating and focus on creating and not focusing on changing your settings. As anybody who is not really a vlogger knows, trying to take any kind of video of yourself is a nightmare. And when you're as ugly as I am, that's like an added layer, because then you're like,
ugly.
you're trying to like, I look horrible. And then every time I go out, I'm like, I put teddy bears in chairs to try to focus on the teddy bear and then move the teddy bear. Don't ask why I have teddy bears, okay? I have a son. So
we have plenty of teddy bears.
All right, there you go. You guys made me feel better. It's all these little tricks that you find yourself doing because you hit the nail on the head. Again, vloggers aren't walking around with a team of 20 people. You don't have a grip. You don't have a focus puller. You don't have people working your lighting. It's just you. And a lot of times it's you in a room trying to get something in. A lot of, you know, there's the demand for people to get stuff uploaded immediately to social media. So having these dedicated buttons and settings. Now, everybody, just full disclosure, I was telling Jason and Vivienne before we went on tonight that I did not look into this camera at all. I wanted to come into this completely, not knowing anything about it. I'm like, you guys are going to be the experts here. I'm going to be the viewer that has no idea. So when I am acting like I have no clue, it's because I really have no clue. So one of the things, when we're talking about video and why people use certain video setups, you love that depth of field. You can throw on a light telephoto lens and with the shallow depth of field and kind of throw the background out of focus. And that was the very first thing as a photographer I thought when I saw a fixed lens, and I'm like, I wonder, what it's going to be like depth of field. So I think it's like a 24 to 70 equivalent I just saw in the specs.
Yes. It's a
Am I right?
24 to
Okay.
70 equivalent. Yeah, you got that right.
That I did get right.
To 2.8, which is insane for a tiny little camera like this. Incredibly versatile.
And having that ability to throw out, like you said, with the push of a button, to get that soft focus, that shallow depth of field look, which isn't, look, whether it matters in the scheme of things or not, we can debate until the cows come home. But when you talk to people who are getting into vlogging, they want that aesthetic. So the fact that, Sony listened and said, look, we're going to give you this option. It's something that, people don't realize when you have a detachable lens system, it adds weight. It's a bulkier system by nature. And it also, you can't just buy a body, you have to buy a lens, and then you get this lens and you have to get another lens. So the fixed lens system is so much easier to just pick up and go, in addition to being more compact. So I'm glad you touched upon that. And getting over to the audio, like Vivienne said, it's so true. And to see that a camera company included a wind muff with the camera is kind of mind-blowing in and of itself, because you would think that anytime a camera offers video, that would be something that's included, because audio is.
They definitely improved on that. I'm not sure if you guys got a chance to see on top of the camera, but the I guess what they call the directional 3 capsule microphone. I don't know what sort of.
Vivienne, let's get a look at it.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's get a look at it. Vivienne, pull it up.
Don't deprive us. Don't deprive us. Don't mind me. I'm putting my mug all up in the camera.
There we go.
Hold on. Give me a second here. I'm going to spotlight Vivienne's video here.
Ooh. Let me just clean that up.
Is it possible to keep it on her as I geek out about the mic?
Of course.
Oh yeah. I'll just show the product as you talk.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. You see right there, and if you guys ever play with the RX100 cameras, that was the spot for the flash. But since they're more catering to the video crowd, they kind of yanked that out and put a much bigger mic system right there. And, it sounds really, really nice, even without using any sort of external microphone. So that's what the mic looks like. And it sounds really clear. It sounds really good. But they also didn't deprive us of other mic options as well. We do have a 3.5 millimeter. Can you show the 3.5 millimeter mic jack, Vivienne? Not that one.
Oh,
but
the
mic jack.
Yes.
Yes. So you have the option if you want to use maybe like a Rode microphone, a Shure shotgun microphone. You can just plug that in and it works. And prior to this, we never had like a point and shoot camera that allows you to plug in an external microphone system. So this is absolutely fantastic to capture better audio. And I can promise you, we tried the shotgun microphone option and it sounds really, really good. But hey, if you don't want to invest in an external microphone, boom, the onboard mic on the ZV-1 sounds really, really good. So what they did too, that's the little wind muff right there that you can attach to kind of mitigate the wind noise. But let's put that mic on. Yeah, there we go. So you can see there's the hot shoe right there that allows you to mount the mic. So that is really nice. I think that's a really nice touch that I haven't really seen in a point and shoot camera, at least not for a very long time now. So that is really nice. And that particular mic we're actually using is the Sony, and I'm going to butcher this. I'm so terribly sorry, but the ECM XYST 1M. I feel like I'm in
That's perfect. You got
it.
Good job.
Ophthalmology office right now. I'm trying to like read the letters, but it's a mic that takes advantage of the multi-interface shoe technology, which essentially allows you to use the mic on top of the hot shoe without needing to plug into a 3.5 millimeter jack. So you can still record audio that way. So multiple options for you to record audio: onboard mic, 3.5 millimeter jack, or if you're using Sony's multi-interface hot shoe mics, 3 options for you to literally record better sound. So, and flip the screen out, open Vivienne, flip the screen out. You see that form factor? That is amazing right there.
Wow. Now let's get down to it. You know what everybody wants to know. 4K, what are we looking at? Frame rate?
4K, yes, 4K, 24 and 30 frames per second. And might I add, you can shoot 4K. I tested this out, okay? I tested this out. We can shoot 4K for almost over an hour before the battery dies, and the camera stays relatively cool, which is insane. Now, I do want to note that when you want to shoot 4K for longer than, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes, there is an option inside of the camera that allows you to turn on called the auto power temperature. You set that to high and boom, your camera is ready to shoot 4K for like over an hour. And when I plugged in the camera, because the camera does take in micro USB, you can charge it that way as well. But when I plugged it in, I kind of leave it running. You know, I left it running, 128 gigabyte card, shot for over 2.5 hours, and the card filled up and the camera was still fine. So it is just insane that a pocket-sized point-and-shoot camera like this can shoot really fantastic quality 4K without breaking a sweat. So we're very happy with this camera right here.
Now,
since
what do you see?
yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Like,
no, go ahead.
I'm like being spotlighted and I'm like holding out the camera and everything. I wanted to bring up the really cool feature that this camera does have, which is the product feature showcase. So I'm like holding it up in front of my face right now because, you know, like if I hold it to the side, then I'm back in focus. And so I have to like cover my face, which is like an issue I think a lot of people creating videos have to kind of deal with, which is like, it's not a bad thing because, you know, the face focus works so well that my face goes back into focus. But the great thing is that this actually has now the product feature showcase, which with the touch of a button, basically what happens is you don't have to hold like the product in front of your face anymore. So you can hold it off to the side and it'll stay focused on there and it won't be focused on your face. And you can always turn it off in the older cameras, but it's nice that, you know, it's right built in with the menu. That's and you don't have to like dig through it to look for it. So if we were streaming with this right now, I wouldn't have to hold this in front of my face.
Well, we were streaming with the camera. We wouldn't be able to show it to the lovely audience out there.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, there is a live streaming option coming for that camera in summer 2020. I believe that's what Sony mentioned in their press release. So that's very exciting to be able to use the ZV-1 to be used as a webcam. So that's coming very, very soon while we're on that topic.
Oh, wow. I did not know.
Oh,
so
okay.
And that I think
release some secrets right there.
Jason's getting a call from Sony right now.
And they're just gonna be like, "Oh, take this guy out." I'm pretty sure they brought that up. That's amazing though. That's something exciting to look forward to in the summer.
No, and now we all see how important live streaming is. It's like, look at what we're doing right now. Normally, I'd be in a room in Midtown Manhattan with you guys, and it'd be a whole different experience. But the fact
so what you're saying is you would have flew us out to Viviennes and
let me talk to my aide.
It would honestly do you guys some good because I'd be spending money at the store.
If the right people are listening, then there you go. There you go.
They know. They're like, let me pull up this guy's record. Yeah, this guy just spent like about 10 grand in the last month. So let's bring him in. Let's spend 10 more.
So, all right. Again, we keep talking vlogger. I'm a professional. Say I'm a filmmaker. Okay. Where does this fit into my kit? Is this like the RX100 of video?
I honestly want to say it is, and I get questions from even wedding filmmakers when I release the video. They're just like, "Is this going to be like a good B cam? Is this going to be a good second cam?" And I say absolutely because, again, like I said, I tested it out. The longer 4K recording definitely helps a lot. It has all the improved color science that we were just mentioning. I know we did talk about the amazing autofocus. So if we're talking about complementing your other alpha line, whether it be the full frame alpha setups or the APS-C alpha setups, this would make a great complement for that. So absolutely, you can use this to do some professional work with it. Like I know personally myself, I shoot a lot of weddings, and the RX100 comes out. So when we're shooting weddings again, I'm bringing out the ZV-1 as a maybe a fourth or fifth angle. Because if you shoot weddings, if you shoot wedding films, we have to bring out a lot of cameras. It's almost like 5-6 different cameras for like different angles. So this is definitely going to be great for that. Can you shoot cinematic stuff with it? Absolutely. I think you can shoot cinematic film, cinematic movies with any setup nowadays. But in particular, the ZV-1, like I keep mentioning, Sony did not hold back any punches. We have the S-Log profiles. We have the hybrid log gamma profile. So if you really wanted to, you can shoot it at a flat profile, take it back to Premiere Pro, Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve, and just grade it, have fun with it. And there's even an option of an ND filter. They brought it back into this camera. So properly expose your highlight, properly expose your scene for S-Log grading, hybrid log grading, it's all there. So this camera can definitely be a good complement for cinematic videos of any kind.
Now, again, I'm coming into this completely out of left field. Stills, does it do stills? Is it just video? If it does stills, how are the stills?
Oh, it does stills. And I'm such a fan of the RX107, crazy 24 to 200 millimeter zoom on that camera, which is fantastic. A lot of what they brought into the RX107 actually came from the A9, the 20 frames per second, no blackout. And I was like, you know what? I don't think they're going to put that in the ZV-1. I think they're going to hold that back. They did not. 20 frames per second on the ZV-1. You can take stills. It's amazing.
Wow.
The autofocus is great in that regards as well. And if you do like a lot of animal photography, animal eye autofocus is also in this camera. So that is pretty cool. An option to do time lapses, take 20, I believe the camera is 20 megapixels. You take those 20 megapixel photos, you stitch them all together, you can make some pretty cool time lapse with this camera. So absolutely, this is a great stills camera as well. So they really bundle this all together as like, vlogging video, or, maybe some Instagram photos, Facebook photos, those are the options for you in this camera as well.
It just shows you the internet, how much the internet influences. Like, it's like, I look it up, I'm like, let me see what people are saying. And nothing about stills at all. And it's like, literally, it's like a, like an RX 100 on steroids. It does everything, a bulk of what that does, but an added package for everyone who's doing video. And it's like, we keep reverting back to video is the future. If you're listening and you don't agree, video is the future. This is coming from a photographer who has lost out jobs to people that also do video. Learn video. And this is right. I mean, am I telling a lie here? I think every photographer needs to be versed in video. And even someone like myself who might not have the time to invest in learning all there is to know about video and perfect it, sure, I would definitely pick up a camera that I can just flip it on. It's got buttons right there, so even Neanderthals like me can get halfway decent looking video, right?
And that's the funny thing. I don't think we're taking jobs away from photographers. I definitely think there's a need for photography. There's a need for video, and so I don't think we're taking away each other's jobs. What I will say is, where I think you're correct is that we're kind of have to force to do both nowadays, right? Like, I think what you're saying is you're coming from a photography background, but you got to learn video. I came from a video background, and I had to learn photos, and I'm like, this is tough, man. Like, the shutter speed, flash, and I'm just like, oh, I'm getting so confused right now. So, it's great that we have such a hybrid system nowadays where you have a camera that can literally do both. So the ZV-1, I believe someone tested this out, but I think you can use a flash on this, which is pretty insane, and the shutter goes up really high on this camera, 1/12,800. So you can do some pretty insane photos. I'm quite sure of that.
Wow. Yeah, I know. I did test out the RX 100 Mark 7 at the driving range, and you were talking about frames per second, and if this camera is a follow-up in some sense or based off of that, it seems like it's in the same category of performance specs. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
Vivienne, what say you? We unspotlighted your video to kind of give you a little break there. No, I mean, is there something that maybe surprised you in this camera, or something you wouldn't have expected Sony to do?
I think the thing that really surprised me was that they were able to keep such powerful features that maybe people making vlogs don't necessarily need, but they left it in there, which I thought was really nice as an option because, needs change. As you shoot more, you probably learn more. And, the last thing you want is to be like, oh, I want to start doing like slow motion. I have to get like a new camera for it, right? So I think it's really nice that they left those in there. And for us, because we're more familiar with like the menu systems and these are things that we touch on, it was nice to see that not gone. But then, they added like such a compact like form for it. So that was like my biggest surprise. You know, I would think that, you know, with like the price of it and how they marketed it, that it would be like, oh, you know, you're just going to shoot video with this, like this is it for you. But they didn't. And I think that was a great way of them trying to listen to everyone and kind of appease to both parties, because, you know, it is a great like secondary camera for people that are definitely more professionals, but it's also good for people that are starting out. And who knows, maybe they'll become like super, super good in video as well. And it'll be like a great like learning and growing camera for them.
Yeah, and it's such a fine line that, you know, you have camera brands on one side and then you have creatives on the other side. And it's trying to get one to see eye to eye with the other. And, you know, if a camera brand, God forbid, a camera brand releases a new system and it doesn't have every single check mark list that the YouTube world and the photography community at large wants, then it's like, well, this camera company isn't doing their job, and this and this and this.
Mm-hmm.
So it is very hard to balance between putting out something that levels with professionals, but it's still something that beginners can use and something that professionals can use and not feel like they're using a beginner camera. So I think this is something that it's a professional camera. It's just has the tools that make it able for a someone who's beginning or somebody who doesn't need the full capacity. It's like you said, it's there if you need it, but if you don't need it, you could still, you know, work your way around it and get great video.
And it's
Absolutely.
nice to see, because like we've traveled like to Japan a lot, and then when I was there were a lot of cameras that were geared towards like younger creators, you know, different demographics. And, you know, the camera itself had like the flip out screen and everything, but a lot of the more pro features were like missing from it, you know. So I was like, okay, like this is definitely more centered for just this one group, not really meant to change. So I thought that was a really nice touch, you know, because they kind of combined both of it.
Yeah, so we want people to know that when you pick up this camera, I feel like everything is already pretty streamlined for everyone. So even if you're coming into the Sony system brand new, or you're just picking up a camera like this for the first time, everything is just kind of set out, ready to go out of the box for you. So there's not much setting up that you would need to do. I'm gearing up to make some tutorials on the camera, and I'm literally punching up some scripts. I'm just like, there's really nothing that I need to change, you know, maybe a couple settings here and there just to make some fine-tune adjustments. For the most part, you know, if you don't want to like, you know, bog your brain down with so many different settings, you know, honestly, the camera is just solid, good to go. Colors are great. Audio is already working. So I think people who are going to be picking this up is going to be very happy with it. And again, just, you know, we're always, you know, referencing back to professionals, you know, there's all these options, customization that you can still do to this camera. So you can just literally work it in a way how you would work with any of your cameras. So that's absolutely fantastic.
Oh, there was one feature I wanted to talk about that I forgot, was they have this new skin softening feature in the camera. And
it's your favorite.
I need that. Send it over.
For me,
Right?
myself, like I personally like it because I mean, like, oh, you know, there's some days when I'm just like, you're mentioning like maybe you don't want to be on camera because maybe you don't look 100% or something like that. Yeah. So they added that feature in here, which I thought was really nice, and they have different levels. So we were kind of like testing that out, you know, for fun. I like keeping it on like low or mid, just kind of depending on my mood that day. But I thought that was a nice feature because, you know, it's for, you know, there's like new creators that are just like, oh, I just want to like spruce up my look a little bit, make the colors look like even better. And it highlights your skin and it makes it look like really bright and fresh. So I was just like, oh, okay. My favorite feature. I don't think Jason loves it very much though.
I like it. I think mid is a little bit too much for someone like me, but you know, there are days where, you know, I have like an angry pimple right here, and you know, the YouTube comments, they come in, they'll be like, you know, you should use some of these acne cleansing tools. I'm like, well, you know, I'm a guy, I don't need to like, you know, freshen up or anything. But you know, now that it's available, you know, I might have to use that if, you know, I'm not camera ready or perfect, but you know, that's definitely a nice little option that they've included for
now two of the big things that I hear people ask about all the time. I mean, I dabble, and I hear a lot of questions from people out there, and from people that are in the industry and people who know nothing about what we do, but they always ask about image stabilization, and they always ask about slow motion capability. Those are two things that always come up. So does this have stabilization? What's the slow-mo capabilities of it?
Yeah, so this does have stabilization. There's, I believe, two options, either active stabilization or standard stabilization. It does crop in a little bit when you put in active stabilization when you're shooting in 4K, but if you got shaky hands like I do, it definitely does help a whole lot to kind of smooth out the footage. But I even find standard to be pretty good as well. It's definitely less of a crop, but it's there. In terms of slow motion, there's quite a bit of ways that you can tackle it, but the one that I think has been always advertised, including in their RX100 line, is the high frame rate. So you have an option of 240 frames per second, 480 frames per second, even 960 frames per second. I think they kind of like market that, almost close to 1,000 frames per second. So you have that option there with this tiny little point and shoot pocket camera to do, really good slow motion with it. So there's an option for people to do slow motion with this camera.
I don't know why those are always the two things, but I don't know what you guys hear. I mean, is there stuff that you hear often mentioned from the YouTube people that they want to know about, or features that they're always looking for?
You mean just in general, or what?
Yeah, I mean, anything that would relate to video, something this might address. Is there anything you look at this camera and you're like, you know what? I always get asked about this, and here it is, or...
Yeah, I think we definitely touched up on all of it in this live stream today. So I'll go ahead and summarize it. 24-70 f1.8, 2.8. You have that 1.8 aperture, which I did not mention. It's very good for low light. So if you're caught in a situation where you're in a bit of a darker area, dimmer light situation, that 1.8 is going to come in clutch. To keep the footage less grainy. I mean, of course, it's a 1-inch sensor. Quality is going to be like, full frame APS-C. But still, for a pocket point and shoot camera, 1.8, and you're in a low light situation, it's still going to look really, really good.
And it's got that Zeiss glass. The Zeiss glass. You can't front on the Zeiss glass.
Dude, Zeiss is amazing. Zeiss lenses are amazing. Aside from that, ND filters. I know a lot of YouTubers are just like, come on, put the ND filter back inside. We want to properly expose for our S-Lock. Boom, ND filter back inside. Easy. Flip out screen, that's really handy. The mic and everything, that's really important to have. I honestly think they've touched up, mostly any concerns that anyone would have when it comes to owning a vlogging camera that is of this size and caliber. I think this is there's really not much to complain about with this camera.
Now, I thought I heard you mention log before. Does this have log capabilities? Can you record?
Yeah. So it has S-Log 2, S-Log 3, hybrid log cam 1, 2, and 3. So various options for you to
now,
shoot
for those
flat
of you,
and color grade.
For those of you who are watching and they're like, what's log? Is it like log cabin or tree falls in the woods? Photographers think of it similar to RAW. It's not the same as shooting in RAW, but like Jason said, it's a greater tonal range. It's a flatter image that is basically allows you to do more in your color grading and your post-processing.
Absolutely.
Is that accurate? Okay.
I think so, because you tell me log, I think of log cabin. So you must have hit it on the ball. I'm sure.
My analogies need a little bit of work. Next, I'll work on my analogies for next time. Is there anything we missed? I mean, I feel like we touched upon, the general grasp I'm getting is, look, Sony didn't go out and try to reinvent the wheel. But what they did is they made a wheel that, you said there's bumps in the road. It handles the bumps a little better. And it looks like they've made improvements. They provided a powerful, compact tool for creating that addressed the needs of those who are going to most likely use it. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's exactly how I put it.
That's exactly fair to say. I mean, like,
that was a good analogy, by the way. You said your analogies need work.
I'm getting better. I'm working on them. I'm taking notes.
They're definitely
it's like, instead of a regular wheel, they made like an all-wheel drive kind of wheel or something.
There you go.
They definitely listen to the consumer base. I mean, just really quickly, touching up on their full frame alpha line. I remember there were, little complaints about like, can you make the battery last a little longer? Can you add the joystick? Can you put 2 SD cards for professional use? And the very next release, boom, all the features addressed. And now we're talking about the ZV-1, same thing. Can you put a mic jack on this camera? Can you put that ND filter back? Can you finally give us that flip out screen? And
there it is.
It just descended down to everybody And we're
I
just
did
like,
get a,
yes,
I did
this is
see a
it.
comment about kind of showing the camera again. So people who might not have seen it, I can flash it
Oh,
again for
here, hold
everyone to
on.
see.
Here, let me spotlight you. We got to do this right.
Ah, there we go. And then
Yeah,
Jason
we
can
can
keep talking, Jason.
Oh,
And
yeah, I was just gonna say, is there any questions from the audience that we can take? Um, let's see here. I don't want to. Let me see. We got. Oh, there you go. So we got Adrian Hung. Hey, Adrian, how's it going? One of our lovely, lovely viewers who was on my Discord. Thanks for joining in. Any indication that the live streaming will be coming to other camera? I can't say that for sure. I can't say. I hope so too. But as far as I know from what they're saying, it's going to be something that's coming to the ZV-1. Yeah.
Adrian, we will see if we can get you an answer on that. I don't know if it's something that is proprietary information that we're not privy to, or if it's something that isn't an option or is an option. Look, we got our lovely spokesmodel over here doing a wonderful job as we talk. How many megapixels are we looking at with this for the stills?
20 megapixels, and you have the option to shoot RAW and JPEG.
So as we said before, it is not just a video camera. I know we keep throwing out the video capabilities, but this is an everything. It's a hybrid.
Yep. It's definitely marketed towards the vlogging community, but again, no punches held back. You got the stills, you got the video capabilities. It's really an all-in-one camera. So you can really use this for any types of content creation.
So if the younger generation is looking at vlogging, and me and the boomers over here, and we're like, wow, this is a great family camera for my son that runs around and I want to take video, and I don't want to take it on my iPhone.
I think you're a boomer.
I am totally a boomer. We will discuss that next time, because I'm wearing a hat so you can't see real well. But it does, I automatically think that, when I look at a camera like this, and everyone's mind is to like the YouTuber, the young, like 20-something YouTuber. But this is something I could totally see given to a grandparent that wants to take video of their grandkids coming on the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just, we put all the focus on you young whippersnappers over there. Let us old people have some fun too.
I think anybody who's picking this up, regardless of age range, I mean, they just make it so easy. I know we focused a lot on the video, but in terms of the photo aspect, we still have face detection autofocus, eye detection autofocus. So it's going to make it super easy for you to grab photos of your grandkids, your newborn baby. Maybe your newborn baby knows how to run now. You can just use the
newborn baby knows how to run.
He's the Flash. I don't know. And you can just use the tap tracking focus, and it will track the moving subject really, really well. So you have a dog, a cat that likes to run around your backyard, and you just want to capture some nice freeze frame actions of them catching frisbee or something like that. I mean, you totally can, with that touch tracking autofocus. And again, I think we kind of brought this up for a brief bit, but the animal eye autofocus, you got dogs, you got cats, boom, it's gonna work. It's gonna lock on focus to your dog and your cat, and you can take some really, really nice photos.
Well, you can see
in
Vivienne's
modes here.
Which modes were?
Well, because they changed the modes to just like a mode button. So it's, you're talking about being intuitive and very easy. So, they have the modes just built in right here, and you can just honestly leave it in like intelligent auto. You want to shoot slow-mo, you go in the high frame rate.
So it still does, it has all your scene modes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Full manual control, auto. We all know P is for professional.
How do you think my videos looked out that good, right?
There you go. Gary wanted to know the price. So I am dropping a link in there in the chat. So for those of you that are joining us on Zoom, we can get that link dropped in the Facebook feed as well. I believe, and I might as well just check and be sure on this. I want to say it's in the 748. Let's see. So right now we have instant savings of $50 at B&H. So with the instant savings of $50, if you order it at B&H now, $748. So it's definitely a great price point for all the technology that it's packing in there.
Yeah, I also want to add, they do also have, you know, because you're mentioning about it being like an easy thing to pick up, especially if you're like a grandparent, or if you even want to get this as a gift for like your grandkid or, you know, a loved one or something like that. Because they have that bundle going on right now with like this Bluetooth grip. I just had to like put it on really quick.
You read my mind. I was going to ask about if there's accessories.
Yeah, so they have this Bluetooth grip here, and this is actually something, you know, we've used for a while now. And the great thing is that, you know, there's no cables or wires. You can just screw it on. It connects via Bluetooth, and all the functions here needed to like record and zoom is basically built in here. And because it's like a little tripod like, too as well.
Ah, okay. Does it have like a gimbal head on there, or is it just it's a stable?
No,
okay.
It does like swivel.
Okay.
So I've seen also footage of people shooting vertical as well using this grip. So that's a pretty cool way of utilizing that. And now I think this bundle comes with a memory card too. So it's like something you can just grab and you don't have to like think about or like, you know, be like, oh, what do I need to get to like go with my camera? And then you can just buy this and it like comes with everything because there's not really much you need to add to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? And it's always better when if you can keep some uniformity. Look at that. That was quick. Where did he go?
It's like behind the scenes. The ninja.
Jason, yeah, I'll really be impressed if you can run me a coffee over here and get back at the same speed.
Oh yeah, no worries. I'll be right there.
No, I mean it makes it when you can go uniform and you keep that, you know, that brand uniformity and keep it in the same ecosystem. Because that's one thing. It's important, like you pointed out, Vivienne, where you buy something, and a lot of people we're impetuous. We want to buy something and we want to take it out of the box and we want to go. We don't even want to charge our batteries. We don't want to go. We don't want to get the camera and say, oh, I didn't even think about something to hold it with.
Dude, I don't charge my batteries right either. Jason has to stop me and be like, oh, you have to charge the batteries. And I'm like, no, there's still like 50% juice. I can keep it going.
So
the smart thing would be owning a bunch of other Sony cameras. So already have batteries ready to go. So we can start playing everything at 100%. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
There you go. No, I mean, look, if you have less than 4 or 5 batteries, you're doing it wrong. I have like an apocalypse view on batteries where I think I probably own about 30 batteries just in case I get stranded on an island and I don't have a charger. Never know.
Well, you know, the good thing about this camera as well is that you can charge it with a micro USB cable. So if you have a battery bank, you just plug that in and it would charge directly into the camera. So now, I think that's a very...
Does it work while charging? Can you use it while... Okay. All right. So people can...
Yes, you can.
Tether it. Okay. That's awesome. It's always a great feature, especially again for people who are recording vlogs.
Yeah, like I said, if you're planning to use this for any sort of, you know, long form recording, you know, I had it plugged in to a wall adapter and I was shooting 4K for well over 2.5 hours and it didn't break a sweat. So for anyone who's doing a lot of weddings and, you know, you have the long 1 hour ceremonies, maybe 2 hours, God forbid, but you know, that camera is going to last you throughout the whole thing. So granted that you have, you know, the bigger memory space to capture all that footage.
Awesome. And so we see the eye tracking. Now, is that just standard eye tracking?
Right. I think right now it's just the face. It's just the face.
It's just the face detection.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, is it right there? I can't really tell from this small.
I kind of see. Yeah, there's a little thing up. Wait, is there? I can't tell. It's so small.
There it is. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So the thing when it comes to the face detection, eye auto detection is that it goes for the eye first. If it can't see your eyes, it will go for the face. Okay. So that's the beauty of it. So it'll run through a different multitude of different autofocusing before it goes back to just their standard regular focus.
Yeah, Vivienne had it up before, and it was pretty. There we go. Now, if you turn your head,
there you go.
So still,
it's locking in. I mean, like you see it, right? It just really locks into your eyes. It's insane. It's so good.
Even with the motion, it is. And I had a chance to see the animal eye tracking for stills in action. It was like it's pretty mind blowing, the technology that's out there now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is awesome. I mean, I thank you guys for having us on. We thank Sony for leveling up and listening to the creatives. I can't tell you enough as a creative how refreshing it is when you see brands actually listen and really not try to go off in their own direction and try to, give something back to what the people want. I think it's such an awesome an awesome feeling. And when you have such powerful technology in a compact body, I feel like cameras are kind of doing the cell phone thing, where it was like, you had the big, like Saved by the Bell, Zach Morris cell phones. And then everyone wanted to get the cell phone that was that big. And then we went back to like the cell phones that are that big. And I feel like cameras have been going bigger, smaller, bigger, smaller. And now it's like, I want something compact that I can carry around. This is a point and shoot that there's really nothing point and shoot about it. I mean, from what I'm seeing, you know, it's a point and shoot in size, but not in performance. And that's a feat.
That's the best way to put it.
There you go. Stop while we're ahead. Jason, no more analogies. I don't want to hear about
you should be on the marketing
running.
team or something.
I do not.
Advertising and branding.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't think you should host anymore. You should just be on the marketing team.
There we go. Maybe I'll be a game show host.
Oh, hey, I want to be on.
I can see that.
I'll co-host with you.
And Jason, you'll teach newborns to run. There we go. You got your. See, I didn't forget.
That's good. You know,
Vivienne,
people will definitely hire me to be a babysitter.
Please never let him forget that. Never.
Yeah.
I promise we're going to bring you guys back on. We're going to get you back on the event space. I do promise. This was too much fun for this to just be a one and done.
Well, you know,
we're bring all the babies here, and I'm just going to have to watch Jason teach them how to run.
Okay, maybe not. You know, now that would be false advertisement. So we got to watch out for that.
Oh, wait, hold on. We have one of your YouTube viewers popped in. So I hold the press. Stop the press. Gary, who's one of your watches you guys all the time on YouTube. So thank you, Gary, for tuning in on behalf of them.
Thank you, Gary.
How much of a difference compared to the RX100?
How much of a difference? I would say it's. I literally just flipped through and I can see all of you guys, which is great. I'm learning how to use Zoom right now. But how much of a difference? I honestly would say just, you know, you're missing the viewfinder on the ZV-1. You're missing the flash. But again, these are not necessary for a camera that is a little bit more catered towards the video crowd. Aside from that, I mean, you know, just think of it as an RX100 camera, but you know, a little bit more streamlined when it comes to that background defocus and that product showcase. This is almost literally, aside from that, indistinguishable.
I think you had said it or someone had said it before, where the cameras are pretty like the same, except they just took one thing and just made that a little bit more of the core focus, just kind of pushed it forward a little bit without taking it away from something else. So like the RX100s could definitely be a little bit more photo geared, but it's like the ZV-1 is just a little bit more video focused, but it's not taking away from the other things.
So no detractors, only additions.
Exactly.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys again. I really had fun. This hour flew by. On behalf of Sony, I'm sure Sony loves having bright, bubbly, educated, insightful, wonderful, entertaining talent. If I missed anything, you guys can email me, and Vivienne's going to email me and be like, you missed this.
Nah, you got it.
You forgot to add in this one compliment here.
Exactly. So can't wait to get my hands on one. So I'm sure I will soon. I'm sure you guys are going to be shooting some content with it soon. I'll be looking forward to that. For everybody out there in YouTube land who is watching Vivienne and Jason, if you're in Facebook, live stream, out there, wherever you're watching us from, thank you on behalf of Sony. Thank you on behalf of B&H. Jason and Vivienne, thank you on behalf of Sony and B&H. And we will catch you guys next time on another rendition of the B&H Virtual Event Space.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye.